Good morning, everybody. It is wonderful to be here yet again. Not sure if you can see this, but I have sunshine streaming through the courtroom windows here of my courtroom of public opinion here in my house. Quite a bit of light. I've got a fan over there in the corner. It's off right now because I am freezing cold. Yesterday in Raleigh, we hit the high of 84, which broke the record by 4 degrees. So it was hot yesterday, which was probably good for my computer. But as you guys saw, I was going to clip the highlight. I might show it at the end of the week. I dumped my mug, my huge mug full of water on my laptop. And so far it has not died. I cannot say the same for like the key G, H, N, or the number 9 key, but because those no longer light up. And the B key takes some convincing to work. But other than that, it's a good morning. It is much cooler today. We actually opened the doors and just let the winds just blow through the house. It was like blowing leaves through the house, but it was so cool. It was awesome. Also ran out this morning and voted. So if you haven't voted, I will just say right now that I will excuse any one of you at any time today if you need to run out and vote. I completely understand, and I highly encourage that. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Alexis says, look, I'm not late today. And as a prize for not being late, Alexis, you are the proud owner of the internet for the day, at least until we take a break. We're probably going to do a shorter show today as we wait for the judge in New Mexico to finish up. He's actually got a sentencing for a first-degree murder trial today. It's one we have not been following. I don't even know who it is. Obviously, he's guilty if we're at the sentencing phase. But he's got that this morning. That's the only time everyone could get together. And so after that, we're going to start the New Mexico versus Dean Cummings verdict watch, really. He's going to charge the jury, and out they go. And we'll see just how long it takes. I think it'll be quick, so we'll probably stay with it for a little while. We did have just some amazing fireworks yesterday. For those of you that were paying attention, we got to see something that you normally don't get to see. Come on. Why is that not working? Oh, because I'm on the wrong screen. There we go. All right, there I am. Look, Alexis, you're not late today. Congratulations. Minnie Pearl, welcome as well. Yesterday, Minnie Pearl won the internet. Alexis has it today, so thank you. Chandra, good morning. Good to have a first mod on the stream there. Anne, welcome. Indent says just in time. It's wonderful. Good afternoon here in the UK. Very good to have you here as well. Colette, Laura, Michelle. Michelle, I don't recognize the spelling of that name. I mean, I spell my last name similar to that. I've got a capital in the middle of my last name, but I've never seen it in the first name like that. That's pretty cool. Welcome. Good morning. If I missed you before, you've probably been here before, but it caught my eye on your name today. Katrina, barely morning, everyone. Oh, wow. Let's see. Good morning, folks. Don't forget to challenge the like button to a thumb war, right? As long as you end on an even number or an odd number of clicks, it's good, right? Did the stream end suddenly yesterday? I voted early. We had some issues occasionally yesterday. We had a stream that we had some internet issues where everything just shut down. I mean, like on my end, I think it was my end that shut down. So we did have a little bit of a break, and then we came back, and we got most of the people back, but I think some people didn't make the jump. Glad you're all here this morning, though. It looks like everyone's showing up just as scheduled. Mallory says, going to go vote in a bit. Already heard protesters are gathering in my polling station. Are they protesting voting? How can you protest voting? Good job, Alexis. You get to fix Scott's computer today. Yeah, if it goes south, Alexis, you might have your hands full. But Last Poet, yeah, I did see that message. I apologize. That stream did drop, and I'm not sure if you can see on this big screen up here where I'm pointing. It says OK, and right next to it is the bit rate of the feed going out to YouTube. When that white little OK changes to a number that starts counting up, that's my buffer. And as it's filling up, that means that my video is not getting to YouTube. And I saw that happening. It filled up to about 74% pretty quickly, and the stream stopped. And I was able to I think I was able to talk in chat, but I just couldn't get the video out. So, yeah, so that's what it was. My fault. I apologize for that. Very, oh my goodness, was this bizarre or what? And I wanted to take a look at this with you guys. For those of you that missed this, because this was the first defense witness out of the box yesterday was Dean Cummings, and it blew me away. I thought he was not going to testify. I really thought that would open him up to some of these weird ideas that he'd present that maybe the jury wouldn't be able to relate to. But he was incredible. He was articulate. He answered quickly without any of this body language that made you think he was trying to remember the right answer or say it the right way. It was just, he seemed like just willing to share and tell you anything that happened and go over it and clarify any details you had. He just seemed very, very authentic and very believable for a lot of things. I know some of you have raised some issues, like I still can't get over the fact that he had a loaded gun in the house there where he wasn't expecting anyone. That's an issue for you, and I understand. Oh, Alexis is passing the blame. It's going to be Elon Musk's Twitter, since he owns the internet now. I guess that came as like a side with when you buy Twitter for $44 billion, you get the internet as well. It's like a bonus. We'll forward it to him. Let's see. Yes, so we were talking about Dean Cummings being called up on the stand in his own defense, right? And did a great job. Then the prosecution gets a shot at him, right? He can't just talk and not have to answer questions from the prosecution. So sure enough, the prosecution gets up there and they start asking him questions, and he still did great. They didn't like buckle him under pressure or anything. But the part that blew us away, and I think this is what Ferry's getting at. Let me get this set, because I think I've got it set up to watch here. Let's see. There it is. Okay. All right. So let's take this. So here's the video from yesterday. This is the prosecutor in blue. Okay. She's the one that she's trying to get him convicted of murder. Okay. That's her job. Get him convicted of murder or manslaughter at the least. The other charges have already been dismissed. And so she's got him up on the stand and she says, hey, step down here. Let's reenact this. Show us this unbelievable story you've got of how this could have happened. I'll pretend to be the guy you shot and you play yourself. And let's do a little role play here in front of the jury, right? So take a look at this. And I apologize, the audio is really bad because they've stepped away from the microphones, but I'll try to boost it as I can. So he starts, Dean's explaining how they're in the kitchen. He sort of backs up a little bit, hits the counter, backs up and falls down onto the floor. First of 3 times he fell. Reaches over, grabs the gun that was leaning against the wall. So he's now grabbed the actual murder weapon, right? The gun that was used in the courtroom.
I've got this like this, I'm down again for the second time, so I'm down.
And all this time, he's coming at you.
Yeah, the whole
He's
time.
coming at you, like
The
this.
whole time I'm blocking him.
Yeah,
trying to-
yeah. And when did you
So then
change
he
it
grabs
around?
the gun.
How did you change it around?
I didn't do that yet.
Okay.
So he grabs the gun, so I
Where did he grab it?
right there on the barrel.
Right here. Grab the
Yep.
barrel. Yeah?
And I'm
And then
scrambling.
what?
He's swinging, he's grabbing with his other hand.
With his other hand.
It's like you grabbed it with the wrong hand.
His left hand? Oh, and what's he doing with this hand?
He's swinging that canister,
Okay.
so I'm blocking everything.
Did you feel the canister?
I finally got back to him
So did he feel the
Did you feel
canister?
canister?
a couple times.
Was it heavy?
I don't know.
So they never picked it up.
I never picked it up.
But you blocked it with your hand.
I blocked his arm.
Yeah.
I didn't grab it.
Okay, here comes the best part. I'm going to pause this when we get to this part that's just unbelievable. Okay, it's bizarre
And
that
then when did
that
you
he's
chamber
acting
it?
this
How
out.
did you chamber
Okay,
it?
so then I got the gun out of his hand. He's got the bathroom entrance. I pulled this
He's
back.
still coming at you?
No, he stood back for a
Oh,
second.
you stood back a second.
I went like this. I said, stop.
I'm going to stop it right there. Yeah, the gun was flagged with no magazine. Yeah, you're right. He actually, in showing how he chambered the round, he broke the zip tie that had zipped the chamber open. So we know it wasn't loaded. But as it progresses, the judge is like, in just a minute, he's going to be like, guys, can we just check the gun one more time, make sure it's not loaded? Because we have the guy you are accusing of murder pointing a gun at you that might be loaded. Obviously, it wasn't. Yes, Katrina, Rust 2.0. Oh my goodness, bizarre, unbelievable. In the how this happened, and this role play happened in front of the jury, and maybe this is what the prosecutor wanted. They wanted to envision him holding that firearm, aiming it at somebody. Maybe that was her goal, right? And if that was her goal, it was successful. But at the same time, you've got him reenacting exactly his story with every detail matching what it said before. No inconsistencies. And every time she brings up a question, he answers it. And it's just there's no gotcha moment that you would expect. But Officer Bailiff.
Officer, hold on. Double check that firearm. Hold on, Mr. Cummings.
Double check that firearm.
Firearm. Make sure nothing in there.
So,
Hold on.
It's a nice sound in the courtroom.
What's on the floor?
It's the zip tie now.
Oh, the zip tie. Okay, the safety zip tie. Okay, all right. Okay.
Okay, so that was absolutely bizarre. that was worth watching. A lot of news sites use this image to make clickbait articles. Yeah, I can see why. I mean, I put it on as my thumbnail for this video as well. I told you I would do it yesterday because I thought of all the moments that stood out to me in the trial thus far, that one just captures it, right? Just the bizarreness of that. Absolutely, Ginger. Absolutely, that was crazy. So he chambered around after being knocked down twice. Where's Tag this morning? Tag will probably join. I know, Charlie, you're on one side and Tag is on the other. As far as teams go, I think you're both team captains on how this happened. Charlie is our resident firearms expert. Tag also has firearms experience, but Tag doesn't believe that he was able to chamber the round. He's like, how would that happen? It's difficult, you know. And we saw Dean struggle a little bit with that. He had to shift hands, hold it with his left hand, you know, rack it with his right. And he did that even while it was zip tied, broke the zip tie. But, yeah, crazy, absolutely crazy. So we've got that. We've got the prosecution or the defense brought on a expert witness who has every credential in the book. If it is related to firearms at all and crime scene trajectories analysis. The guy's taught the course. Okay, he's got the badge. He wears the hat. He is that man, and so he testified and just did a phenomenal job testifying about that. He was not so ardently pro Dean Cummings that he would discount any other option, and I think that's important for an expert. Anytime you get an expert that goes up there and says the only way this could have happened is exactly the way the defense says it is, that strikes me as wrong. That sounds like a bought testimony. You're paying him to say exactly what you want him to say. He was not. He was saying that basically everything he testified to is it could have happened exactly the way Dean said. It could have happened another way too, but it could have happened that way. And I think that was important. Yes, they finished with the expert witness, and the defense is wrapped. They're done. So when we come back in court, we're expecting to say 11:30. 11:30, because the judge has that sentencing for the other first-degree murder charge this morning for a different case, unrelated case. He's going to come back. We're basically going to charge the jury and send them out on their way with a small stack of papers. It's not going to be like Darrell Brooks. They don't have 76 charges. They have basically one charge with three possible outcomes if they reach a verdict, right? They're either going to find him guilty of second-degree murder, they're going to find him guilty of manslaughter, or they're going to find him not guilty. If they reach a conclusion, that's it. The other option would be a hung jury, and I don't think we would see that right away. So yes, both sides have rested. Hands up, who hasn't been maced? There's another bizarre, this guy that was shot, the decedent in this case, Guillermo Ariola, I think is his name. He maced all his neighbors. It's like, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. Spray your dog. Everybody that know him is like, yeah, I've been maced by him. Yeah, we met. He hit my car with a hammer. It's just like bizarre. And the defense has tried so hard they're objecting all the time. Like anytime this testimony about prior acts, okay, that the decedent was part of, things that, criminal convictions, cases that might really taint his image in the jury's mind, they're objecting. The judge doesn't want that in. He wants this case tried just on the evidence of this case. But some of them slips in. Some of it slips in about the cocaine, about the marijuana, about the, mace was a common thing, and fighting, and he's an angry drunk, and things like that. So, yeah, it was, Ann says, I watched part 3 of the show last night. I had to leave early, check on the new storm. The storm, you and I are both going to get that storm, I think, Ann. Me up in North Carolina, I'm right underneath it. But by the time it gets here, it's just going to be rain, I think. Talking about Nicole, by the way, the new named storm that's looking at making a double swipe on Florida. Okay. Charlie Peterson said, Katrina, he said he chambered the round at that point between attacks 2 and 3. Yeah, after he fell into the bathroom door jam. He says he sort of got back up, and as he sort of had taken the gun from Guillermo, he chambered the round at that point because Guillermo had stepped back briefly. And that's when we get the stop moment where he's pointing the actual weapon at the prosecutor, which was just bizarre. Let's see. Ann, are you in Florida also? We've got a couple Florida people. It's down in Fort Myers as well. We've got just some people. Charlotte County. Charlotte was hit hard. Let's see. True Celtic says, survived the 30-hour stream. Oh, the 30. I thought you were going to quit at 24. Wanted to make sure I said good morning. Loved the few from this community that stopped in to say hi. That is awesome. True Celtic. That is a marathon. Anyone who has done a live stream, just you and I have been here, some of you guys, for 4 5-hour streams. There was one day we did about 9 hours with just the briefest break in between. It can be exhausting. It can just be draining. And imagine going for 24 or 30. That is awesome. Let's see. MB says, I remembered to like the video today on my own. MB, you get a gold star. Congratulations. Charlie says, I'm from the Adirondack mountain range of New York. Lots of people carry bear mace while hiking. I inhaled a cloud after someone sprayed, and it's not good stuff. Spicy. How does it go with pickles, though? That's my question. Lord Love a duck. How much? Okay. It was a saying, the love a duck saying. How much did I miss? Are you talking about today or yesterday, Donna? Because yesterday was pretty much all defense all the time, even during the cross-exam. It was a Darrell Brooks. The prosecution, everything they put on really helped the defense. Hurricane Ian is what Ann's talking about here, saying, Bella, how did you go through Ian? How did you do through Ian? Ian was incredible, powerful. I said I would remember your name. It has I and I. I can't remember. I can't remember your name. Are you watching Fleeing Girlfriend Murder Trial, Florida versus Matthew Terry? We have, I think one of our viewers here is keeping an eye on that for us. We may switch to that, or we might catch the tail end of the Pike County murders if this wraps up quickly. But those are out right now. Those are happening. I'll have to do a little catch up to get up to speed on all of them, but we can do that. Can somebody help me? This name that's on the screen, she told me what her name is. in like the English version of her name. Lily. I knew it had an I in it. Katrina, thank you so much. Lily, I apologize. I'm going to write that somewhere on my hand so I can remember. But we might be looking at that trial next, the Matthew Terry trial. The thumbnail for this was a picture of a guy pointing a rifle at point blank range at someone on the stand. What are these people thinking? Ken, yeah, that was what happened yesterday. That was bizarre. That was bizarre. The prosecution handed the murder suspect the weapon that was used in the incident and then says, I'll play the dead guy. You play yourself. Let's act this out in front of the jury. It was crazy. Debbie says, I just hit the like button and I didn't break it. Everyone gets a pickle from Recovery Addict if you hit the like button. Don't touch my pickles. I am a generous guy, but don't touch the pickles. I need those for my sandwich. Charlie says, we've got family in Fort Myers, beautiful area. Was hoping to make a trip down to help with the roof repairs since FEMA denied them both. Oh, man. Yeah, that's a difficult area. Insurance down there is different from the rest of the country. You learn that when you're down there, but a lot of times people are on their own for the repairs, especially if FEMA doesn't step in. Donna says DB will be on the 15th and 16th of November, right? We'll have a few days of that, but that's next week. We may see him on the 11th. We may see him on Friday this week, just to get that list of 20 plus people who are going to speak for him. Yeah, Ken, in this case, the gun, previously, they've shown it several times, and several people have picked it up. It's been on the stand. It was not loaded. I think everyone knew it wasn't loaded. It had been zip tied open with the chamber in the open position. There was no magazine in the gun, but it was enough of a concern that judge is like, hold up, he interrupted it. Hold up, just check, double check before you accidentally pull Rust 2.0. Just double check. Bella, all can be repaired. Roof over my head. Bella, that's amazing. I may share a story this Saturday of what I learned about Hurricane Ian and how I was able to participate there, and just some of the amazing people down in Florida that I got to get in touch with. Miss Nashville, yes, DB impact statements are scheduled for the 15th and 16th of November. So next week, basically. We've got 2 days. Sentencing will follow right after that. But we know that on the 11th, DB is due to give Judge Darrow, a list of all the people who are going to speak for him, and the prosecution is going to do the same thing. They'll probably have 2 days of testimony, a lot like what's on the calendar there, a lot like what we saw from the Parkland shooter incident. Yes. It's not as pretty as it used to be. Lots of damage. It will take a while to rebuild and regrow. It was funny when they changed it for the fake gun. Yeah, why didn't they use the fake gun all along? I mean, first of all, the gun looks a little different. It's not as scary. And if the prosecution was going for that mental image of picture this guy as the killer type thing, it's not the same when he's holding a blue plastic gun as when he's holding the weapon that was used in the murder. But yeah. One can never check a gun enough. Yes, anytime you pick up a gun. This is gun safety 101. It doesn't matter if the person who handed it to you, just double check to make sure there was no ammunition in it. When they hand it to you, double check yourself every single time. Do a visual inspection if you can. Feel for it. Time spent checking a gun to make sure it's not loaded is never wasted. Anyway, so we've got that. I wanted to share one more story. This is not really crime related, but it came across my Twitter feed this morning, and it warmed my soul, and now it's gone. There's a gentleman in Raleigh. He's 100 years old this year, and for like 37 years, he has read the newspaper, out loud into a microphone for the blind. And he reads every word of the paper. He reads the grocery ads. He reads every story, every obituary, cover to cover. He reads this paper, and he always apologizes if he gets a name, spells it wrong. He says, because I know people like to hear their own name. But he's got this amazing life story, World War II veteran, and he just helps these people for years and years. He's read this story for the blind. That sort of guy, that sort of person who is making a difference for so many people by doing a small thing, that's what I want to aspire to be. I think all of us can do that. There's something that each of us has that might be a small thing for us to give that will make a big impact on other people's lives. So if you find that somewhere, if you find that something, and I think everyone has one, do it. Fit that into your schedule, fit that into your life, make that part of who you are. It makes the world a better place. Let's see. Charlie's giving Eddie the Eagle points here. Treat every gun as if it's loaded. Never pointed at anyone, even if you check just to maintain good habits. Right. Matthew Harris, resident lawyer, says the clip of the prosecutor with the defendant and the reenactment will be shown in continuing legal education classes as a clinic on what not to do. Right. Matthew, I was thinking the only thing that I could envision her thinking that would come out of this is the image of him holding the gun. So the jury could say, picture this man as the killer. But instead, you got a very believable and followable reenactment of his exact story of how it happened. And now, in their head, instead of this vague, he was standing on the bunk bed shooting down at, this idea that they can't envision, they now have envisioned, locked in their head, exactly how each time he was pushed to the ground and when he chambered the round, and it fits all the evidence. And it's like, it's bizarre. It's bizarre that they went there. Donna, still talking about the storm. We're fortunate to have the palms that bend in the wind, so there's lots of green still. Good. Morning to all the mods. Yes, you guys are amazing. Thank you all for being here. This morning, we're gonna have a short stream here as we prep for Dean Cummings. Or it's gonna be a verdict watch today, is what it's gonna be. I think that's what I named the live stream. I guess I was a little preemptive because this is the morning get together before the verdict watch. So I might have to rename that here. Let me do that. A little truth in advertising, right? I'd hate to be accused of clickbait. Morning update. There we go. We'll call it that. We'll change it to verdict watch on the next one. Okay, so is there anything else? I think really that this case is going to wrap today. That the verdict is going to come back. We'll have an answer from the jury. I personally believe that it's going to be not guilty. I can't see them going for manslaughter in this. I definitely can't see them going for murder. But we'll see. I mean, stranger things have happened. MB says, well, if I can click it here. When I was in middle school in the early 90s, we were all required to take a hunter safety education course every year for 3 years. Always check the gun first was the first thing they taught. It was a requirement. That's interesting. I graduated high school in the mid-90s, and I did take hunter safety, but it was something I had to sign up for and pay on my own. But it was a requirement in my state to do that before you could get a hunting license. Let's see. Lori, I'm sorry. Horrible reaction to medication change. That is scary. I hope everything is good. Yes, got to do what we need to, right? Yes. Don't put me and my live stream in front of anything important in your life. When you've got a break, when you can fit me in, I'd love for you to be here, but take care of you first and the people around you that matter. Matthew Harris says, well, prosecutors are taught to get a murder weapon into the hands of the defendant just to create the image. Okay, so that's what we were saying there. The issue was how terribly she executed it. Her standing over him, yeah, it made her be the bad guy. I mean, the image in the jury's head is she's the bad guy. But that was bizarre. I'm going to rewatch that just after the streams today. I think that was so much fun to see. Churchy says, hey, last poet, feeling better today. The gorilla family have quit playing bongos in my head. Now, that's an illness I don't want. The bongo gorilla head illness. That sounds awful. Should not take long for a verdict. What's the next trial? Well, there's a couple. There's a couple going on right now. Pike County has a murder trial, which is, it's like two crime families and a drug deal gone bad, as well as a custody dispute between the two. So it's like Romeo and Juliet, but in some warped, twisted dimension. So you've got marijuana grow farms and, crime syndicate families and, and just pre-planned murders. And you've got one of the youngest ones has a kid with one of the younger ones on the other family, and they're fighting over custody and allegations of abuse and things like that. And and the one family, the 4 members of the family, so the child's father's family, plans out the murder, and they kill 8 people so that they can get custody of the child. And it's 3 different locations they had to go to, pre-planned. I mean, they hid guns in cement and, bought a special truck and built a false deck to hide people in. It was bizarre, but it was definitely pretty planned and crazy. Mr. Upper Torso said, did you get that new laptop worked out? The old laptop is still functioning. There's been no smoke or spark. I did bring it upstairs with me to my room last night, where we have a nice fire extinguisher and a smoke alarm close by, because if it was going to light on fire last night, I'd like to be close enough to put it out. Did not happen, so uneventful night that way. But so far so good. I'd like it for just to keep working. I'm happy with the one I've got. I don't want to have to buy another. Lori Pavick says, y'all remember the Shayna Huber case? I'm thinking the Sarah Boone case will be similar if she takes a stand. It will be bizarre. That one we're pushed out till the end of January. That was what we were supposed to be doing this week, really. I mean, Dean Cummings was our second choice for this week. We were thinking Sarah Boone was the way to go. Let's see. The only flaw in his testimony was the fact that the worktop still had all the paraphernalia on. He said he knocked it on the floor. I listened to that again, Ferry, because that was something that I was sort of hung up on yesterday. And he described it sort of 2 ways that both could have been correct. Just the way he described it, he said, he threw me back onto the sideboard, the counter, and I sort of rolled off. And the second time he described it, he describes being shoved back into it. It hit him like at the hip, and he slid off the side. So he was like leaning against it, which would sort of be on, but then slid sideways down into the hallway. And I'm looking at where the paraphernalia was on the back of that counter. I can envision that happening without him coming into contact with it. Although I would feel better with that story if there was something knocked on the floor from there, which there wasn't. But yeah, that might be a weak point as well. Let's see. Pink slip should be handed out to the prosecutors. What do you do after that? I mean, do you stop and say, let's go back and look at the other cases they prosecuted? That maybe you had a public defender that wasn't so vigorous in the defense. I mean, do we have people who should not be incarcerated because of this? Is it that bad? Oh, crazy. Let's see. Happy you're feeling better, says Bella to Churchy. Wagner case is way tedious. I'm in Ohio and I've been watching. Right. One day at a time. Let's see. What's the next trial? Let me know what you want to talk about, because if there isn't one, I'm sorry, I'm reading Matthew Harris's comment here. If there isn't a case that everyone wants to follow, we're probably not going to live stream. We might do a morning meetup and still just talk each morning, because I like that. This is the most fun I have during the day is just when we can talk back and forth and jump around as needed. Matthew Harris says, channel tip, I'm stealing from Law and Crime, but when witnesses take the stand, you can pin a comment that says who's witness is testifying, and whether it's direct, cross, redirect. That sounds like more work, Matthew. I've got enough buttons. I should be able to make that happen, but I'll have to look into that, because I know we do answer that question a lot. We get a lot of questions when they're like, who is this on the stand? Every time someone pops in, and having not followed this case for a long time, a lot of people don't recognize the individuals. Oh man, Lori, all of us were there. That was bizarre. Mr. Upper Torso says, I think the big difference between Boone and Arias and Huber's is that she isn't claiming self-defense. Her defense is pretty much, I didn't mean to suffocate him. Right. I think that's going to bite her. It's going to bite her in the butt. Her saying, I didn't mean for this outcome to occur. How can she hold that as her defense in light of the video that she took with the audio that she heard and the back and forth conversation she had, the yelling at him? And I just don't think, Lori says, when isn't there a trial? There's always a trial on. It's just, if it's super boring, We've got better things to do. We don't have to sit there and follow, just a boring trial. There's interesting things to talk about. Let's see. I missed the whole workshop scenario. I don't remember that. What was the workshop scenario, Ferry? Let's see. Going back. Oh, the worktop is what you're talking about, right? The countertop in the kitchen. It's right when the fight started, Sarah. What happened was they were in the kitchen. That's when he basically told him, "Hey, are you scamming me?" type thing, and that's when he first attacked. And he first shoved him up against the counter, and he says the counter hit him right about the hip, above the hip, and then he sort of slid sideways off of it into the hall. So as he was falling, he hit the counter, slid, and fell down. But initially when I heard it, the idea was he was like on the counter, on top. When he told it again and sort of reenacted it, he showed that he was sort of leaning against the counter, like his feet were further away from the counter, but he had fallen sort of towards it and leaned, and that makes more sense without having things falling off. Julie, you are late, but you're welcome. You're welcome anytime. Glad you're here. I absolutely love this channel, says Ferry. We're not privy to trials here in the UK. We've only just had live sentencing. Yeah, it's there's still courtrooms that are closed, and that still happens. We have some cases that are going on that judges still seal for cameras. So hopefully we get some more access. We've got to walk a careful line that we don't endanger the right to a fair trial, especially if things are shown prior to jury selection and things like that. But the defense witnesses were very good as character witnesses. How would defense position be without them, in your opinion? Rich, that's a great question. I think you're talking about the Dean Cummings case. I really thought, and I still do, I think the state has not proven the elements of the charge, either murder or manslaughter. Because of that, I think the defense could have said, there's nothing that we need to address. The state hasn't proved anything. And I just hand it over to the jury, and the jury would have said that's self-defense. Obviously, it's not as safe a slam dunk, just leaving it with only one side telling their side of the story. But I think there's a good chance he would have got off even without the defense presenting their evidence. Matthew Terry is going on in Florida. We can take a look at that. That trial is life. Maybe we need a mug with that on it, Matthew. Or not a mug. We need something that doesn't spill on my computer. Let's see. Lori is addicted. Hey, welcome, Lori. We're all addicts here. After watching the Boone interrogation, she seems convinced in her mind that if there's no intent, there's no guilt, right? If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. If no intent, there's no guilt, right? The intent, and you watch that interrogation, and you listen to the investigators, and they say, but you zipped him in, right? And you heard him say this, and she's like, yeah. And he said, but you intentionally went up the stairs, right? The intent doesn't have to be that I intended for him to die. It's knowing that he was in that situation and intentionally leaving him there. I think that's what we're going to say. That's enough of intent. I think the threshold is much lower on intent than Sarah realizes. Let's see. We love that you're here, Julie. The Delphi case will not be public, right? Well, Rich, on Delphi, let me tell you what we've got on that one. Jumping back to my spreadsheet here, which I will make public. Judge Benjamin Denier was the judge that we've heard about up to this point. He's the one that sealed the affidavit of probable cause affidavit, and sort of kept it secret. And then released this weird sort of statement saying, hey, it's just me and my clerk here. You guys are bombarding us with requests. And then he recused himself. The new judge, Judge Frank Goll, voluntarily participated in a trial program in Indiana where trial is televised, where courtroom cameras are allowed. So we know that this new judge is more open to that. But I don't know if that will follow through in this court case or not. So we'll see. But we might find out more of that. We're going to hear on the 22nd of this month. We're going to hear at least whether or not the affidavit is going to be released. And we'll have some more information about Richard Allen's arrest in that one. Darth brought popcorn. Thank you. Please pass it around. If the suitcase didn't fit, you couldn't convict. There are so many places we could go with that case. It's hilarious. Can we fire the prosecution in the Cummings case? I'll have to look. Is she elected or appointed? The district attorney. I think it's an elected office, right? So she might be up for election today. She might be out of a job here really soon. Water bottles, says Donna, metal ones, maybe with a wide base so they don't tip. Hi, my name is Lori, and I'm a crime addict. Yes. Hi, Lori. Is this True Crime Anonymous? Might be. Matthew Harris has real work to do, says I have to cut out to get to a morning hearing. I'll be back later. Have fun. Matthew, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Do you get my anonymous coin? Oh man, you've got all these ideas. I love challenge coins. Those 2-inch type collectible type coin that they're common in the military and police. And I actually have some from some work I've done with the police department, sheriff's office. They gave me a collectible coin. But that's intriguing. We might have to investigate that a little bit. Get yourself a 720-degree flask. Just push down the lid, sip from any direction, push to close. Keeps contents hot or cold well. Churchill, I'll have to look into that. As long as it's got like a sippy mug top, that might work. Just the first meeting, one coin. I think Boone wanted to make him suffer before he died. That matches the video audio. It's like, this is how I feel when you cheat on me. This is how I feel when you choke me type thing. I think she intended for him to die. Well, if they can prove that she pushed him down the stairs, I think that will prove the intent. That takes it right out of the ballpark of we were playing hide and seek to, die you scumbag type thing. Yeah, it crossed that threshold. That should be a channel emoji. Katrina, we'll need a coin for sure. We'll need a couple stickers. If we can get monetized, that's the thing that's holding us back. I can't have stickers in chat, custom stickers until it gets monetized. So that's going to be the end of November at the soonest, if they let me in. I don't know if they will. Chandra says, recovered addict, hoodies and tees, please. I might need some help. We've actually got, is it Bella? I think it's Bella. Bella, you're up in northern Utah, right? I think it's Bella. I might be confusing her with somebody else. No, Bella's in Florida. Let me look. I'm super bad with names. But I've got one of you out there is actually works for a company that does custom merchandise solutions, and they've left me some information. Bella's in Florida, so it's not you, Bella. I threw you under the bus on accident. Sorry about that. But I've got the contact information in my phone, and I'm going to be reaching out to them. We might be able to do something like that, especially because nowadays I don't have to spend a fortune buying a bunch of inventory. We can really do a print on demand type thing where if you guys want one hoodie of one color, it's feasible, and you don't have to order 700 of them and have them sitting in my garage for the rest of my life. So if that's something that you're interested in, let me know. Especially let me know what you want on it. Would you want the Stephen Lee artwork? Might have to compensate him for that if we go that route for sure. There was evidence that George, this is talking about Sarah Boone trial, that George had some head damage. He might have been pushed or happened when he was trying to escape the suitcase. He was definitely conscious. We can hear him pleading for help. Yep, that's going to be played for sure. Can we have our daily shout out for Mrs. Recovery Addicts? Yes, she's not watching today. She's like, I'm going to have to take a break. I'm spending too much time watching the Recovery Addicts show. Let's see. How long before suitcase companies advertise by body count? It's like a tent. This is a 3-man suitcase. That is funny. And a wave to JB. JB, everybody in chat is saying hello to you and welcome up there in Canada. I'm glad to have you there. Okay. So today all we're looking at is Verdict Watch. So it might be a little bit slow. I probably won't be talking the whole time. But we're just going to keep an eye on what's happening out of New Mexico. I don't know if they're going to, have the delay that Judge Darrow had between the verdict being reached and them going live reading the verdict. So we might have to sort of be on standby. This is a smaller court. Granted, it does have, some media there, but it's just one camera that's sort of broadcasting for everybody. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll follow that closely. I just want to be online for when that comes through. Not an ostrich. Welcome. Did you sneak in here? I didn't see you earlier. Good to have you here. Let's see. Just got back from the merch. Debbie says, yes, I just got back at the end of the merch discussion. V-necked t-shirts, please. V-necked, yes, okay. So we've got those and hoodies, tees. What would you want on it? We need some witty sayings, like "Don't get murdered." We have that already for an idea for the bottom of the cup. Gold Mom, I think you're right. I think it'll be, how long does it take to fill out two papers, or one paper? Really, they just need to fill out the not guilty. Sorry, my kids are shouting in the hallway. Wanted to hear what they were saying. Don't get murdered. Cover your tracks. Yeah, just crime tips. That's what we need, basically. Murder 101 is how to get away with murder. Something about hire a defense attorney. Got to get my patriotic duty done. Yes, go vote, y'all. Please do what Lori says. I voted this morning. I was at my local little ballot station. I was voter number 88. And I took my 3 kids. I always like to take my kids when I go vote, I'm not trying to show off to the vote people, but I want my kids to see that I vote, and that every time an election comes up, I'll explain to them. And as they get older, we'll talk more about the people I'm voting for and why I vote the way that I do. But it is a civic patriotic duty, and definitely please participate in that. Has it gone to the jury already? No. It closed last night with the defense resting and the judge saying, all right, let's take a break. Let's go home. So we're going to get the charging of the jury, where it's going to read the comments. I know there's going to be some discussion about the self-defense rule and how the jury can find this self-defense. So that'll be interesting to hear exactly how that's put in. I think the prosecutor is inexperienced enough that she's going to let the defense sort of guide that discussion, which is interesting. You'd think the prosecutor would want to tailor that instruction to be in her favor, but she's letting the defense do it. So we'll see. Hide the gun. Let's see. I think most of our merch has to steer clear of the gun idea. Don't get murdered, get merch. Great sayings here. Closing statements today? Yes. Closing statements in charge of the jury, right? And I think they'll be quick. So Ginger, I skipped that. Closing statements, charge to the jury, verdict watch. But I think it would all happen today. Bella voted at 7:15. Huge turnout. Great to hear. Love to hear a huge turnout. I know where I am in North Carolina, there are not protesters, but there's a small crowd of people handing out literature, just inches past the closest they can be to the voting station. And yeah, it's funny. It's like I like to think that if you haven't done your research before that point, like literally walking into the ballot box, you haven't done your homework. You need to know who you're voting for or what you're voting for. Good news for some of you. Apparently the winning Powerball numbers are in. Would suggest to check them after this live stream. Right. And if you won, I expect you to order one of each of the mugs in all 5 colors for everybody. So, T-Front, I survived the Darrell Brooks trial. Subject matter jurisdiction. Don't get in a pickle hoodie. Right. That I can see. That I can see teens getting on board with. Don't get in a pickle in a hoodie. What color of hoodie? Would it be black? I voted early. Many polling places were damaged from Ian. Yeah, that's a consideration. Some kind of pickle design. I like that. Relic recovery law. I have to be careful of not having law on there because I am not a lawyer. I'm not presenting myself as a lawyer. I'm just a law fan, and I don't want to to make it look like I'm practicing law without a license or something. Because Matthew would turn me in a heartbeat. You know, he's a good guy, but, you know, he's going to defend his turf. The prosecution had zero ability to build a narrative, and regarding merch, no guns. They're a no-go for your audience, I suspect. Right, I think that we can find plenty of great merchandise ideas that don't have guns on them. I think there's enough there that we can get that done. When does court start today? Yes, Betty Ross, it's we've got to wait for the judge to do the sentencing in another first-degree murder trial that's not related. So that happens first. That's the only time they could get together. That'll take about 45 minutes. And then after that, then we're going to bring everybody in. We'll have, as was it Chandra? Who was it pointed out? I forget. We're going to have, Ginger pointed out, their closing arguments are going to be today. So we're going to hear the story from the prosecution, which is just a story. Here's how we think it happened. You know, there's no evidence to support it. Here's how we think it happened. We're going to hear the defense basically say they have not proved anything, not a single element. And then the jury's going to get charged. They're going to go out. They're going to fill out the paperwork and come right back, and it'll be done. DB makes my ground. It's not a gun. It's a high-speed wireless communication device. Right. It goes a lot faster when there aren't constant tantrums. These are some great ideas. Koski says, I'm sorry, but with only one guy to tell his story and we being allowed to defend ourselves, he gets off free. Right. It's very hard to prove something else when there's only one person who witnessed it that's alive. A Fort Box drawing, that would be epic. Stephen, we'll have to talk, because if you have some artwork, I know I appreciate you giving the artwork you have already, but if you have some artwork that gets used for merchandise, I think I could at least pay you for that. Let's see. Yeah, if you need artwork, if you like the sort of stuff that like this right here, if you like this artwork and this style, Stephen Lee is your man. He just sketched that up for me really quick, and I absolutely love it. That's how I do my open. But good guy. Appreciate him being here. Stephen, go ahead and drop your link in chat as well, where people can find you. The official term is cardboard fortification, right? That's a technical one. Let's talk about that. If it pleased the court, we could pretty much take any one sentence that Daryl Brooks said and put it on a shirt. Fort Brooks, only pedestrians allowed. We did a mug with the grill and bongos in front of a Fort Box. You guys are great. All right, so we're coming up on the hour mark. I told you we'd stay about an hour. I think that's what we're going to do. It's going to be fun today. I forgot, Ginger, thanks for reminding me. I completely skipped out on closing statements in my head. I'm just ready for this to go straight to the jury. But Not the Mama says, I know I may not have the majority view. However, if I was a jury, I felt Cummings' story was a bit too rehearsed, and I could not get past the two kill shots being close up and from behind. I don't think they said it was from behind. If you watched earlier, and we didn't cover this on live, but if you watch some of the earlier trial footage, the shots were from the top down, so they went from sort of right to left through the body, but they were near, they would have to be coming from this direction and entering his body from the right and going to the left. So it wasn't from behind in that way, but it does seem strange that they were, vertically almost down his body. Would it be fair to say? It would always be fair to say. But subject matter jurisdiction, that's going to be, I think that'll be one. Fort Box tantrum. Messy Sketcher on Twitter. Right. If you're on Twitter, give Stephen Lee a follow at Messy_Sketcher. That's how you can find him. Bella doesn't identify as that name. That would be good on a shirt as well. I accept for value in exchange for value. Definitely a t-shirt or a hoodie. So we've got several votes for the hoodie. We might look into that. Let me go back through my contacts and get in touch with our friends up there in northern Utah that do some merchandise. the thing I like about them is, first of all, I can talk to them directly, which is easier than what I'm doing right now with the mugs, where I have to sort of go through a computer. And they have a system that works well for me. I just have to make sure the minimums and everything work, but and make sure the quality's there. I don't want to sell a product that you guys don't like. But there's the music. So there's Vin. Good morning from Utah. Good morning, Vin. Music means it's time to wrap up. We are going to have fun. I'm going to have, basically, as soon as they go live, we're going to be joining the extreme skier trial, which has nothing to do about extreme skiing, other than the fact that one guy in the trial at one time went skiing long before this all happened. So yeah, it was a bad name. I sort of had to adopt it because that's how we find it. That's how we find our footage. But Churchy said, I was ready to throw Cummings in the hold until the trial actually started. Now my position has changed. Anyone else? Yeah. What do you do to a guy who's been locked up for 2 years, and this is all the state has? It's bizarre. Thanks, Addict and Chatters. You guys are amazing. Appreciate you all being here. If you're able to join back for the live, that would be lovely. See you later, Charlie. Dallas, see you later, and thanks. You're welcome anytime. Glad to have you here. Debbie says, love a hoodie, not in black, though. I have cats, right? The cat hair, that will show up. Okay, so we'll look at some options there. Turning on notifications. We'll watch until election returns come in. Okay, and that's going to be some gripping footage. But, yeah, that'll happen tonight. So, what time does the live start? Well, Gold Dome, they say it starts at 11:30, but I'll have to double check and see if that's local time here. I think it is. So we might be, because what? Well, let's see. Let's ask Siri. What time is it in New Mexico?
In Santa Fe, New Mexico, it's 7:54 a.m.
Okay, so I think they're like 9 something. So they're like 2 hours different. Is that right? And it starts at 11:30 my time. It's 10 now, so maybe an hour and a half. All right, guys, music's over. We've got to wrap it up. We'll see you guys on the live there, and hopefully everyone goes out and votes today. Do it during the break right now if you need to, but please vote for whatever candidate you feel would be best served to make this world a better place. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you all on the flip side. Bye.